what else have you got there for us?
So there are many tech options out there. Like I said, there's a filtering softwares out there. You can consult your cell phone providers. A lot of them have their own kind of programs. There are a lot of mobile device kind of apps and things that can monitor those devices. And like I said, about explore built-in security features like turning off that camera. So if you were to go on, say, Google or one of the software review sites, some of the ones that come up are probably names we remember from our youth, like Net Nanny, My Mobile Watchdog, M-Spy, Web Watcher, Phone Sheriff, things like that. And there are many. Some go from being not too intrusive, kind of just gives the parent kind of a quick idea look. Some are very intrusive, where you can see everything your child has typed in.
Really?
Yes. So, I mean, your child best. So trust that, mommy, daddy gut. And if you need to be more intrusive into your child's device, then you might want to look into those more intrusive softwares that are out there.
Okay, I didn't realize that it could do that. So if they're playing a game on their computer and they're type chatting, you can go back and look at everything.
Yeah, it'll give you kind of like almost a text file of everything that they have typed in.
Okay, I like that a lot. Because I'll tell you, one of my problems is that for me personally, I see that, we'll cycle through things and we'll say, okay, we're going to put, all these filters on so that he can't get into certain things, or if it contains this word, he can't get into it. And then he'll come to me and he'll say, well, I can't get on this thing that I really want to get on to research something. And I go, oh, well, I really want him to be able to get onto that. Or there's a very popular game site that a lot of people like to play on. And he's like, well, but I'm not playing these games. I'm playing these games. I want to be on there. And so then we let our guard down and let the filter down. And I don't know how to check. I do periodic checks where I say to him, at any point I can come in, and if I say hands off the keyboard, I get to cycle back and look through the last, all the communications. And if there's anything there, and these are, like, I call them my random chat checks, so that he knows it could happen at any time. But I always wonder, what am I missing? And I don't really want him to know that I'm seeing it. So if I had a text file, I could look at it and I could know whether he's fine like he says he is, or whether there's stuff I need to address.
Yeah, and some of these will do that.
Okay. That's very exciting to me.
They'll send you the text messages. They'll send you some of the chat messages. So those popular chatting apps like Kik and those you'll get a kind of report from that.
What do I Google to find the ones that give me the text file?
Again, it's just like monitoring software or child safe software and if you go into the App Store, you'll find some of these. If you go into the Android equivalent, you'll find the same ones. Some of them are all inclusive. I know there's one or two of the Android softwares that will actually police the computer and the phone.
Okay.
Now, some of these cost money, obviously.
Yeah.
And some have monthly subscription fees and things like that. So I would say there's one for every budget.
Okay.
Obviously, the more expensive do more. So they would be the more intrusive kind of ones.
Okay. Okay. So what else?
So it was from doing these at the schools. One of the things that we saw coming up a lot was about driving safety and driving with the phone. Now, obviously, I didn't have too much information from the federal level about these kind of things. So I had to go out and do some research, and it wouldn't be any different than the research that any of your listeners would do. So I Google searched and I read a bunch of articles, and there are some really great safe driving apps out there. So some of them, and these are only just a short list, and I've never used them personally.
Okay.
But driver safe mode, Canary, steer clear, drive safely, and safe drive. And these do a little bit like those security policing apps. So if you are driving in a certain location, on some of these apps, you can actually draw a circle on the map. And if your student drives outside of that circle, you'll get a text alert to your phone.
I love that. I love that. Okay.
If they go over a certain speed, you'll get a message. If they're driving erratically, you'll get a message. There are all kinds of features in these apps. There's actually quite a few apps out there that can actually help your teenager drive more safely too. So what it is it's an app that goes on their phone, and you will they will start it before they drive. And if they don't touch their phone, they don't text message, they don't do anything like speed or go outside those areas, right? And they get to their location, and then they tap the app again. It will reward them with points that they can trade in for like gift cards, like Amazon and others like that.
And what's that called? That one? I'm
pretty sure it's the one called Safe Drive.
Safe Drive. Okay. Okay. Because I love that too. We're all about rewarding good behavior.
Definitely.
Because that's what works. Okay. So that's spectacular. I love all of that. That's life-changing. Okay. What else?
Those are the ones that I've named. For parents, I have we talk about near the end about our own Homeland Security app. So it's out for Android and for iPhone, and it's called Operation Predator. And you can tip and send reports anonymously to us. It also will show you maybe suspects in your area that we're looking for. But I have to remind you that individuals should not attempt to apprehend any suspects. I'd leave that up to us. Call the local police or call us or one of the other agencies.
No vigilantes.
Yes, please don't.
Okay. All right. And that's called Operation Predator. And we can get that.
Yeah, the Operation Predator app.
Okay. And it's an app. Okay. So I know that there were some things that you talked to people about in Atlanta that you have some scary stories. And not that I want you to, not that I particularly want you to scare us, right? We all want to be able to go through our day and not be paralyzed with fear. But this is serious. And I think a lot of times we kind of poo-poo and go, well, my kid's not doing that. And we all need to realize that that's what every single parent who had something bad happen thought too, right?
Yeah, so there are people out there who want to get access to our children, for nefarious reasons.
Yeah.
So right now, Homeland Security investigation is probably, we do about 60% of all federal prosecution of child exploitation. In 2015, we arrested 2,394 child predators worldwide. In 2015, we rescued 1,004 child exploitation victims. So we're very busy.
Yeah.
I think in the 7 years that I was in child exploitation, I had about 49 convictions.
Wow.
So do the math there, it's about 7 cases a year. And there are several agents on my team. So if we're all doing that kind of workload, you can see that we're a bit busy when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Yeah. So it's
Um,
there, it's
it's
happening.
Yeah, and it's not that old kind of thinking, that they're white males and they're of a certain age, and they live in mom's basement. It's not like that anymore. I mean, we've seen CEOs of major companies, ministers and priests, Boy Scout leaders, pretty much any person of any age, any demographic at this point. And there's no correlation.
Okay. You're starting to cut in and out a little bit again. But so when you, because I don't want to throw you off, we've only got about like 5 more minutes here. But when you're doing these presentations, and clearly this is a passion for you to help people to have their kids be as safe as possible. It's something that means a lot to you. What do you think? Like, what are your top 3 things that people need to be aware of that we're not?
The top 3
Things that we need to know that that we don't know, that would get us motivated to get to do some of these things. What do you think? What do you think's missing from our knowledge so that we're not able to keep our kids as safe as? It doesn't have to be 3 things. What do you?
I think it's. Yeah. I think it's we get comfortable with these devices. Again, letting our children have them in the bathroom or even in their room with closed doors, gives them a lot of freedom, and that could lead to bad things. We see a lot of the bathroom photos, taken in the mirror, so it's a selfie type of thing. And I think if a parent knew that a child was taking those kind of images, I think they would never let them in the bathroom with the phone again, or probably take the phone away.
Yeah. So maybe like just having a rule about that we don't take phones into bathrooms.
Yes.
And that we have a rule in our house that that phone does not go into the bedroom at nighttime. Just because there's been studies that have said that it's not good for a developing brain to be around that kind of a battery for that long. So we just have said it doesn't, it goes on the charger, and that's where it is at bedtime. Because the other thing is that, before we did that, I would wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and he'd be watching a YouTube video. He woke up and would be, so that was part and parcel of that for us. So maybe those are good rules that people can see if that works for their household. I don't know. Well, so I interrupted you again. What else did you want to say?
So cyberbullying.
Yes. Okay.
When we grew up with bullying, if you were bullied, you went home after school. Maybe you watched some cartoons. You did some homework. You talked around the family table at dinner. You watched some TV. You went to bed. And maybe you're a little anxious when you woke up and went to school the next day. With these devices and them having them in their rooms, they're getting hit 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I'm pretty confident in the work I do. I have a lot of training, but I think if someone told me how much if they told me how bad I was every single day for months at a time, it would even shake my confidence. So on the psyche of our young, imagine them getting pummeled, with these messages and these chats and stuff constantly. And I think that's something we should be aware of, that when it comes to bullying, it's not just, in these smaller time frames, giving the child time to recover. It's a constant thing. And I think that's seeing some of the teen suicides, around the country.
So let's talk a little bit about cyberbullying from both sides of it, how we monitor to know if that's happening to our child, because I know that it's happening, and how we help our child to understand so that they are not participating in cyberbullying.
Well, it's part of the discussion. That's what we do in our iGuardian presentations. We talk about being a cyberbully, being a victim, and then being a bystander. So, these are usually happen now in groups, chat rooms, and group chats and things like that. So even if our child is not participating in it or being a victim, they may be seeing it. And we have to make an open environment where the child can come to us and tell us. And that way, hopefully, the parents will reach out to the victim's parents and say, hey, listen, this is what's going on. And cyberbullying takes many forms now. Text, photoshopping, fake profiles, rumor spreading, and gossip. And we cover all this in the iGuardian presentation.
Okay. I think the takeaway for me is that we all need to have the full presentation with the PowerPoint, and we need to get these everybody needs to take responsibility for making sure that this happens, not just for you and for your child, but you want other parents to get this information so that they're going home and talking about it with their kids. So let's stop for a second and go over where people want to go in order to ask for the presentation to come to their locality. What is that again, Special Agent Fallon?
So it's iGuardian at ice.dhs.gov.
And it's iGuardians with a plural or iGuardian singular? I want to get it right.
Enough.
I left it on my desk, so I didn't bring it in with me.
It is iGuardian.
Singular, no S. iGuardian
dot ice
dot ice
dot dhs
dot gov. Okay, so that's where you need to request for and so when somebody requests it, what happens? Is there a cost for them to have the presentation come to their school?
No, there's no cost.
Okay.
Obviously, it'll be working agents who will come out to do the presentation.
So we don't all get you. We don't get you to come
to. Once you send the email in, it'll come to the cybercrimes headquarters down here. The iGuardian coordinator will then find the office closest to your location and send your request to that office.
Okay.
And that office will then send their iGuardian coordinator at that office, and they'll usually reach out to the school and ask what they want in their presentation, because we don't always know exactly what's going on in schools. Schools may have a problem with Snapchat, but not with Kik. So we can actually tailor the presentation to the exact needs of the school.
Okay.
So that'll be done in the field at the field offices.
And then there's a separate presentation for the kids and for the parents, and there's separate for elementary, older kids, and for parents, correct?
Yes.
And you can request all three?
Yes.
Okay. Because it sort of feels like to me, if they're going to have the special agent come out, why not do it all? Have them go to the elementary school, have them go to the junior high and high school, and then have a meeting for the parents with the PTA, so that we can all get the information. I really think that's, and you've got great tools in there for us to be able to discuss. I know just sitting, when our local law enforcement did it, sitting and hearing what the other parents were saying was eye-opening to me, because I didn't realize some of the things that were going on.
Yeah, I've heard some things at our presentation, where a parent would say, oh yeah, my 11-year-old is on Snapchat. And I don't think that's what Snapchat wanted.
Right.
When they designed it. I think they were going for a older demographic there.
Yeah.
And does an 11-year-old really have the skill set to be responsible on a communication app like that?
Well, and for people who don't know, because I'm not all that familiar with Snapchat, but my understanding is that Snapchat you can put a picture up, you can say something on there, and then it dissipates very quickly, right?
Yes, so that's true, but not true.
Right.
Um,
Because everybody thinks, oh, well,
so
I can put anything up there and then it's going to go away in 10 seconds, except that it doesn't.
it does not. It can be recorded. There are softwares out there that can record it. You can take a screen capture of that, but the app now alerts you to that. But the problem with that is, what do you do after you've been notified that somebody's taken a screen capture of it?
Right.
How many
Now it's
children are
too
going to
late.
come forward to tell their parent, hey, I sent an image I wasn't supposed to. The person who got it took a copy, made a copy of it.
Yeah.
I don't think many children will come forward.
Right. No, and in the meantime, young lives can be destroyed by that. But our kids think, oh, well, I know I'm not supposed to do that, but I can take that picture and I can send it, and there's not going to be a record of it. I won't get in trouble. Nobody will get in trouble, and they can and they do. But I don't know the other one that you said, Kick.
Yeah, Kick is just like a messaging app. You can do voice, you can do messages, you can do pictures and videos. Um, and a lot of the kids use it; they feel comfortable in.
Oh gosh, so overwhelming. So overwhelming, all these things. But I think honestly, that's what we've come to at this point, is that you need to request the full presentation to come to your school, your organization. And I love that you can tailor it so that if they are having a specific problem, because I am aware of certain schools that, the one school will say, oh, we have issues with Snapchat, and another one that's not the case. They've got people on Facebook that are bullying on Facebook. So you're able to cover the full thing, but tailor it to the individual. Special Agent
Yes,
Fallon.
and
Yeah, go ahead.
we work very closely with our local partners. So when it comes to bullying and cyberbullying, that's obviously not a federal offense. So when we do these presentations, we usually invite one of the local police officers, detectives, out with us, so that they can kind of tell the parents how to go about reporting those kind of things to them, how to save the evidence and bring it to them.
Yeah, because that's the last thing that any of us are thinking about in that moment. We want something done, but we're not thinking about what are the proper steps to save the evidence, because things can be on the internet and then go away. And I think too, part of it is knowing. Something that I've heard parents talking about is what to react to, that sometimes something will happen and we'll go, okay, that's really not appropriate, but should I report it? And then people decide not to, and it escalates. So I think great way to further that discussion with local law enforcement, along with the special agent, so that we can know what to do to keep our kiddos safe. Special Agent Fallon, I just so appreciate you taking the time to do this, and please thank everybody there for giving you the clearance to be able to be with us and talk about this. But again, we have to say this again one more time. Really, I think the thing that we've learned more than anything else is that there are some supports that are there to help us to monitor, but we cannot completely rely on those. We have to be diligent always, and we all need this presentation in our local facilities, whether it's your school, your church, whatever organization. And the way they request that again, iGuardian.ice.d, oh, iGuardian
iGuardian
at ice.dhs.gov.
And if you Google the iGuardian program with Homeland Security, it has a website too.
Okay.
Which gives a brief description of the program.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for being with us, and thank you so much for all the work that you do, and for being able to stay passionate about something that I'm sure can get pretty icky on occasion, and for everything that you do to protect all of our kids. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure talking about it.
We'll have to have you back again, but we all need to request this. So, as we're going to say goodbye, go and get on and request to have one of these presentations. Thank you so much, Special Agent Fallon, and please let us know if we can ever do anything to help you.